I should have, yeah, Facebook's on. And I'm just going to relocate y'all so I can do this like that. Okay, cool, bet. All right. All right. Good morning, Alafia, Grand Rising, good day. Um, happy Ojo Oshe Otunla, happy Ogun and Ochosi's Veneration Day. Um, so I'm doing this live because honestly, I did not feel like going through and recording and posting everywhere. And I knew it was going to be longer than a couple of minutes. So I said, I'm going to do this live because I just really, it's the beginning of the month and I decided to do something that I really had not done in a minute, and which was really kind of see my growth for my business. So before I get started, good morning. Hi, this is Ianifa Danya Faomi Shango, Ifa priestess and spiritual awakening doula for the African American diaspora. And I specialize in supporting Black women and youth, especially those that are a little bit neurospicy, and cultivating a spiritual practice that is built on the foundation of self love. I have been in a position where in 2022, I was laid off from a job that I had for over 10 years and was making a nice bit of money at that job. I'm a single mother. And so, though in, the leaving the job itself was not inherently the surprise, the timing and the how was the surprise. The timing of leaving the job was the surprise. However, I already knew that spirit was calling me to leave. Like it was already uncomfortable in my day job. So I already knew I was being called to exit. I knew I was already being called to leave and that this was not going to be the place where I retired, much like I thought. It was just like, you're not retiring from here. And um, one of my homies that worked with me said that they knew that I had a few more souls to touch at work. There are a few more souls that I was going to touch at my day job, but it was not meant for me to stay there and continue working that job. And so it was obvious. It became exceptionally uncomfortable. And I was fully aware that I was going to end up leaving this job. I just didn't know the when, the how, or any of those things. And I was consistent in going to pray and go to spirit and go to my spiritual court and saying, hey, I know y'all want me to leave this job, but I have small children who are special needs. I can't just quit. I need money in the bank to do that. I need at least this much in the bank in order for me to leave my job and me feel comfortable. So that was what I, prayed on. And so ultimately, what ended up happening is when I was laid off, had been there over 10 years. So I got a severance package, which was basically the equivalent of the prayer that I asked for. And it was so specifically what I asked for that it was unmistakable that spirit had moved in my favor. But it was challenging for me to kind of figure out what I was going to do. I was still holding on to the identity of me working a corporate job. I was still holding on to the identity that this is what I'm supposed to be doing because this is what is expected. It's expected that if I got laid off from this job, I'm going to go look for another job. But that is not what Ifa wanted me to do. Ifa said, no, this is like, I want you to operate as an Ianifa full time. This is what I want you to do. And I need you to understand that Ifa is going to provide for you. And that was challenging for me because I was like, well, everybody's going to think, like, I really was like, I need to still do something else. And Ifa was like, no, I want you to trust me. I want you to trust in your spiritual core. I want you to trust in your Ori. I want you to trust in your ancestors that this is going to work out for you. This is your destiny. This is what you're supposed to be doing. And that was terrifying. A single mother. I have two children, both of them on the spectrum. Both of them are going to various therapies for ABA, occupational therapy, speech therapy. And anybody who has a parent with special needs children, or even has to go to those own therapies themselves, they understand that those therapies, even with insurance, mind you, I got laid off, so that was going away. Thank you for the likes, TikTok. Mind you, that was going to be costly even with insurance, but without my guy, okay. So I was like really nervous about what I was going to do. And so I've kind of talked about how Spirit moved me to talk to my family and go to my community for support. Understanding the thing, a beautiful thing about Ifa, especially Isheshe, is that it's practical in how encourages you to get support. You need to trust yourself first and foremost. Trust yourself that you know exactly how you need to move, what decisions that you're making, that you're going to make the right decision. That is the first part. That's the first thing is trust in you. Trust in your ori is you. Trust in yourself and that you know how you need to move, where you need to go, and what your destiny is, even if you are not consciously aware that you know. That's the first part. So that was the first thing I did is trust that I know what I'm supposed to do and trust in that knowing and do what I can to not falter from that knowing. The second part is lean on your ancestors because they are your support, they are your foundation, they are your roots. The next is go to your family. Notice I hadn't yet to go to a divinity. Go to you, your ancestors, and your family, and trust that they are going to support you. And when I realized that this was a recurring situation where I was being asked to stop acting like I can't ask for help and allow myself to not only ask for help, but be open to receive the help. And I am so grateful for my parents because, like, real talk, like, they really have been such a humongous support that this would not have been possible without them. When I look at the fact that over a year, I have been laid off over a year, almost a year and a half, and I look around and I'm still in the house that I was in prior to being laid off. I still have the car I was driving prior to being laid off. I have food in the fridge. I have food in the pantry. My kids are still going to therapy. And this is by and large part to one, me trusting myself and my intuition. When my intuition tells me to move, I move. And when my intuition tells me to do something, I do something. And I was like, I needed to make sure I did that. And so, because I was listening and trusting, and notice I haven't said disciplined or obedient because one, the Most High is not a slave master. So I don't use language that indicate that I'm a slave to the divine. I am working in concert. I'm working in tandem with my spiritual core. So it is a matter of a trust. It is a give and take that creates harmony and balance with myself. So for me, I'm not disciplined, nor am I obedient. I am trusting and walking in my knowing. And that is a completely different energy than walking in a state of obedience and discipline, because then I don't feel like that someone else is going to do something to me. If something else happens, I hold personal accountability to what's going on in my journey. If I don't listen to my intuition told me to go left, but I decided to go right. And when I go right, something happens. I can't blame nobody but myself because my intuition had already told me to go left and I made a different decision. This is a matter of personal accountability. So I have been not perfect, but doing the best that I can. Yesterday, I paid my rent. And yesterday was one of the first times that my rent's paid, my car note's paid, my car insurance is paid, and I'm looking at them just like the money for the utilities is going to be deposited in the next couple of days. And I realized, I said, you asked for some help this month, but it was way less than when I first started needing help. And my Ori was like, you need to spell Excel and do your month over month from last year to this year to see how your business is doing. You need to do month over month, last year to this year, to see how your business is doing. And see, I wasn't realizing, I wasn't allowing myself, giving myself the kudos, the accolades, the grace, because I wasn't seeing the movement in my hometown. I wasn't giving myself the grace because it didn't look the way it did when I was working in corporate America. But Ifa has been very consistent in telling me that I'm going to get it bit by bit, and it's not going to look like everybody else's. And when I get it, it's going to come through not just simply in a matter of work. Ifa's like, I need you to be open to receive blessings for what you do. I need you to be open to receive blessings for you blessing other people. I need you to be open to receive that. And so I've been walking in this space because I've been calling in ease. I've been saying, if the Most High can do all these things, the world, the star, the cosmos, dimensions, other timelines, that I can have ease. I can have that in my lifetime. I can have that. And so I'm doing my numbers, and I looked January 2023, January 2024, there was a 90% increase in income from last year to this year in January. February, I made less than $200 in February last year. And this year, it was the equivalent of one of my checks when I was working in corporate America. And just to give you perspective, just in case someone is like, well, what's that number look like? I was making over $73,000. I had just gotten a raise. So I was at over like around 73,000 when I was laid off. So if you can do the math for one of those checks might look like, that is what I made in February. I have been opening classes, and it would be frustrating. I'm like, this class is free. I can't, like, they won't even come to the free stuff. But then, and it would be frustrating because they won't come to the free stuff, but then I would see them post something and know that the class that I just taught answered their question. I would know that I just taught a class for free that answered the question that you just asked about what's going on in your life. And it would be frustrating. And yesterday I asked Ifa, I said, what do I need to know about myself? When I do my own personal divinations, it's not always I got a problem. Sometimes it is just simply, tell me about me. I want to learn about myself. Because for me, in how I define self-love, it is taking an added interest in who I am and how I'm different from other people. So I make space to seek out that information. What makes me different? What makes me me? How am I different from other people? And when I asked Ifa this question, I got the Holy Odu Osa Otura. When I look at Osa Otura, one of the things it talks about is sometimes people see more in you than you see in yourself. Yesterday, I was talking to my mom, and I was telling her about the fact that one of my goddaughters is a teacher in Texas. And she invited me to teach numerology to some high school seniors at her school. This group of young people took their lunch break to come learn numerology with me. And then they all wrote me letters about what they learned and how it's going to help them make decisions in college and how it's going to help them make decisions going forward and how they learned so much about themselves, how they got confirmation about themselves. And one of them said, when I'm getting ready to go to school, but I need a spiritual mentor, how can you be my Iya? Here's my email address. And so I was telling my mother about that and how the increase and how I didn't have to ask daddy for the same amount as I've been asking before. And she said, you know, I told your father, if anybody's going to do it, it's you. She said, if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be her. She said, I couldn't do it. She said, but she said, Donnie is going to do it. She just needs help. I didn't think my parents believed I could do it. It's the first time she said that to me. And it's like, I hope my parents don't think I'm crazy. They don't practice Ifa. My dad and I don't talk about me as an Ifa. My mom, we talk about it, but it's not like they're in it where they can understand why I'm doing this and I'm so adamant that I gotta do it this way. We don't talk about my practice, so they don't know that. It was funny. I ended up in the ER because I was stressed out. My blood pressure had, and so when we came home, my mom, I typically clean off my ancestor altar before my dad comes over because I don't want to have I just don't want the conversation. But this particular day I had left it there. And so my dad's walking through my living room. He says something about the food there. It's like, this food's supposed to be here, da, da, da. And my mother says, he's like, is this box food? Is this cooked food? And my mother, without missing a beat, says, your ancestors don't eat from boxes. Danya cooks for them. Bruh, I was like in the kitchen, abject horror. Like, I'm like, okay, that's a thing that's happened. that is a thing that has taken place. Nothing, no negative, and understanding. I think for some people, especially for my people in the diaspora who are walking away from Abrahamic traditions, and notice I didn't say organized religion because it is a misnomer to indicate that African traditional religions are not organized. They are highly organized and highly organized religions. They're just not that religion. Abrahamic does not define religion. It is a type of religion. It is not the definition of religion. So having parents where I grew up as an Israelite and me, by and large, walking away from that and doing something else, and them not be the way I have heard some other people say their parents have, talking about what you're doing is eat. My parents have never done that. I mean, I have like charged crystals and tarot decks in their backyard. They have not said anything to me negative about where I was going spiritually, but I still didn't know or think they understood. So to know that when they are by themselves and they are speaking about me, that they truly are speaking over me being successful. And they were talking about it and they were like, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work. And when I tell you that, when I say my prayers, and it's not just my Ori, it's not just my head, it's Iba Ori Yeye, the Ori of my mother, Iba Ori Baba, the Ori of my father, the Oris of my children, the Ori of my elders and loved ones. Because even if in the physical realm, they're not sure how they're going to make it happen, I know their Ori wants to support. So I give their Oris gratitude and veneration as well. I share all this because there is somebody who doesn't know if that dream is theirs because they have quantified it as big. And I would challenge you to consider, what is big to the Most High? What is big? She created the whole earth, stars, planets, cosmos, asteroids, other universes, galaxies. What is big to the Most High? And when you think about what's big to them, what you're asking for is not big. What you're dreaming of is not big. It has no size. Just remove the size. It is not a big dream. It is a dream. It's your dream. It's your vision. There is no size. And once you remove the attachment to size, because you make it big, you qualify it as big because you perceive yourself to be small. And if you recognize that all energy is the same energy, meaning that all energy is simply source energy, changing form, speeds, frequencies, etc., and thus you are operating as source energy in a human vessel, how can what you ask for be too big for you? If you are the source operating in the human vessel, how can it be too big for you? So when I look at birthing, Temple Egbe Oriegun Ofuashe, and I can see who we're going to help. I can see the tapestry beginning to weave together, and why all of my goddaughters, if they are not neurodivergent or differently abled, their children are. That is not a coincidence. One or two, okay. But all of them, I have like 13. All of them, I didn't see myself. I didn't see myself being a godmother right now. I didn't see that. I didn't see myself birthing a temple right now. I didn't see that. I didn't see that I would be a full-time priestess and that's my career. That is my business. I didn't see that, but my little self somewhat did. Little me knew. She said she wanted to be the most powerful witch in the world. That was me as a little girl. Every year for Halloween, we was witch. Every we sitting in the middle of the yard pulling grass and things up because we making potions and stuff. Little me saw that. Little me also wanted to be a doctor. She wanted to help people. She wanted to heal people. Little me was also like to play school. She loved playing school, so much so that when she was in school, she would always be ahead in her schoolwork. And so teachers would let her grade papers. And one even gave her her own grade book, which a doctor and a teacher. And when you think about what it means to be a priestess, especially when in an ATR, she wasn't far off. Even in my name is Dania. Iya has always been within me. It's the center of my name. So understanding that I may not see the whole picture, but I can see the colors of the tapestry beginning to weave themselves together. And I understand the jobs I had leading up to this, they were not out of alignment. Every job I had leading up to this moment was completely in alignment. Having to work at going to a high school where I was in a health sciences track, where I was actually pre-med, anatomy, and then chemistry when I was in college. Understanding that working in a medical office was important, especially considering that I never had a fast food job. I never had one. Like that experience everybody has working, never had that. My first job was a medical office assistant. That was my first job. Being able to organize, understanding what's going on, hearing medical things, still doing like a little bit of med tech while I was there. That was important. Me getting the job that I had at Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut is the job that said you are a leader. That's the job. Pizza Hut was that job. Pizza Hut said, you're a leader. And I'm like, Houseway. Nobody want to listen to me because that was what I felt like. Nobody wants to listen to me. I'm too nice. Nobody's going to listen to me. And the funny thing is, my manager at the time said, when she promoted me after 6 months of being there, you're going to have somebody try you. And you're going to have to step up. They're going to try you because you're nice. I need you to understand, don't stop being nice. But they are going to try you. You have to find where that balance is. And sure enough, my first night closing, one of my drivers tried to chump me off. And that's cool. I sent him home. He's like, who's going to close the store? I'll figure it out. Bye. That was a job that taught me how to lead and taught me how to lead authentically as myself. Lead as me, because leading as me, I know how to galvanize and create followership. That is a gift. It is a natural gift. I don't have to fuss. I don't have to cuss. I don't have to yell. I don't have to scream. I simply am who I am and know how to explain the why behind things. And that is what creates followership. That is how I galvanize people. I need that as an Ianifa. My omos need to understand why we move the way we do as a community and why I encourage them to move the way they do individually when we're not in community. They need to understand that. They need to understand why certain ebos work. They need to understand why I see Ifa as a religion of self-love, and that's why I teach it from that lens. They need to understand the why. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to follow, learn, and be supported by me as their Ia. I needed to know that I could pull people together and create change. That is what my corporate job taught me. My corporate job put me in positions to where you see a problem, what is the solution? Yes, we've been doing this thing the same way all this time, but if you see something that's not quite working, it needs to be tweaked, it needs to be adjusted, fix it and apologize later. Fix it and apologize later. So even in my own practice and how I do things, I do it from a lens of practical spirituality, meaning that just because this looks this way, it doesn't have to stay this way. That's the beautiful thing about tradition, is that tradition is moldable. Tradition evolves. And so my relationship with spirit is not going to look like somebody else's. And thus, that's what I encourage for my godchildren. I'm going to give you bones. I tell them, I'm not giving you a spiritual practice. I'm giving you the bones of one. It is up to you to take what I give you and give it blood and flesh and muscle and give it life. All I'm giving you is the bones and a strong foundation to build upon. You need to take that and then elevate it for you so that E5 is not just something you're doing, but it is part of your life. It supports your life. And you need to always come back to self love. You need to always come back to self love. We're like, I'm teaching all of this, and then I'll throw in a class. Like we were talking about E5 theology, and I took a break and I said, okay, cool. Let's take a break, come back. We need to come back to self. So we're going to talk about how health shows up in your birth chart. So that way you know how to coordinate your diet and your healthy habits and things that are going to align to you so that you can be healthy, mind, body, and spirit. It always comes back to the self because it always comes back to your Ori, and your Ori is you. And your Ori is you. So understand, having this trust in yourself, and a lot of us who grew up in Abrahamic traditions are told, don't lean on you do know. You are an emanation of the Most High. You may not have access to 100% of the knowledge of source, but you have absolute access to 100% of the knowledge of yourself that you need in any given moment if you simply trust in yourself. But we're not taught to trust ourselves. We're taught to trust outside of ourselves. We're taught to put that in somebody else's hands. We can't possibly glean the answer from ourselves. We can't possibly have that answer. And I encourage you to learn more about who you are in whatever way is possible. When I teach the self-love class, part of the mentorship program my students take, it's not simply just their numerology and their astrology. I tell them to look up their 16 personalities. If you can get access to Strength Finders, think that all of these things are tools used to show you parts of, glimpses of who you are, how you show up in the world, how you receive and stimuli from the world, how you react to it. Learn who you are and understand you're going to learn something new about yourself every day. And that's the beauty of the thing. But the more you learn who you are, the more that you will learn how you make decisions, why you make the decisions you make, and thus trust in your decision-making process. I teach them how to trust in their intuition, not simply in a moment where it's like, I should do such and such a thing. No, like seriously, go to yourself, because your intuition is the voice of the Most High speaking through your Ori. So you need to learn how to actually ask the question and get the answer in real time. I teach them that they are the spiritual tool, because that is what my godmother taught me. We are the most complicated ritual, and we are the most powerful spiritual tool. Our human body is. Our consciousness is. And if you don't have nothing else, you always have that. So I'm teaching them to trust in that. They will learn how to use tools, but they will understand if they are similar walking around in the mall and they need to make a decision on the fly and they feel stuck, take a breath. Listen and know that when you ask, the Most High will speak clearly and in real time. Clearly and in real time. But you have to believe it. And so every time it kept coming up, something would happen at work, and I would say, I'm trying to get a promotion. And please understand this is not ego. I'm willing to show you my resume. When I tell you my resume is flawless and it will pass any applicant tracking system, I know, like that's why it's still offered as a service on my website, because I know what I can do. I am very, very skilled at resume writing, and I'm a beast in an interview. So when the first time I didn't get the promotion, I knew I wasn't. My mentor had said, apply, put yourself out there. E5 is always telling me to do that as well. Put yourself out there. Okay, cool. But when it kept happening, I was like, oh no, buddy. Oh no. Something's awry. And I went and sat at the altar. I sat at my mat. I said, hey, Sugar Plum, why ain't getting no promotion? And I knew I could feel it coming. I could see it in the transits in my birth chart. I could see it in my Odus and E5. But E5 was very specific. Don't you quit your job. I was like, okay. I didn't quit my job. I listened. Even though it was uncomfortable, there was stuff going on at work I just did not agree with. I felt uncomfortable. It was, you know, how you get to a job and you feel good and you're that square peg in the square hole and you fit in and everything feels great. But I was growing, evolving. I was changing shape, and I was no longer square. I was round. And that round peg don't fit in that square hole. Round peg needs room to stretch out, and I couldn't fit. I couldn't fit I couldn't fit in there. And it was funny because there was a career rally and somebody's in the chat in a career rally. It says, grow where you're planted. And I'm like, oh, that's not true. You may start growing where you're planted, but the truth is that a lot of times we have to, repot our flowers so that they're in more nourishing soil. We have to repot our herbs. We have to move them. We have to relocate them so that they can be in a better space where they can grow more fully. Their roots can stretch out a bit more. We sometimes have to do that. So it's not always grow where you're planted, grow where you're nourished, grow where you're fed, grow where you're watered, grow where light shines on you and you can be beautiful and bloom. Because if you're not getting those things, you're not going to grow. And eventually, you'll just stop. You'll either stay the same size and never get any bigger, or you just won't be. You just won't be. So understanding that when spirit is showing you, it's time for you to stretch out. Don't think you immediately have to, oh my God, I got to quit my job today. No, because that's not what I did. And I quit my job today. I went to E5 and I was practical in my like, look, I need you to know I'm not ignoring you. Like that was the first, like a lot of times we don't think we could have those kind of conversations. No, have the conversation. I am not ignoring you, Lord. I'm not ignoring you. Please understand, I am not ignoring you. I hear you. I am paying attention. I am getting the signs. I know you don't want me to stay here no more. So let's negotiate what this needs to look like. I don't have the money in the bank to just quit my job. And I also have kids, because chances are that without children and no money in the bank, I might have just still went ahead and quit. But the kids like, no, we need money in the bank. The kids need to get back and forth to therapy, Y'all can have those kind of conversations with your spiritual core. You can have those kind of conversations. This is not disrespectful. This is, you are the co-creating in your creation process. Be part of your creation process. If you don't say nothing, you don't get nothing. So I said something like, hey, I'm not ignoring you. You ain't got to send me another sign or nothing. I'm not ignoring you. This is what this needs to look like. I need at least 6 to 7 months of income in my bank account if you want me to do this. This is what I need. Spirit said, say less. Okay. Don't quit your job. Don't say nothing. Don't quit your job. Don't say nothing. Go quit your job. And I was antsy. Like I was looking. I was send my resume out. Nope. Looking. I'm like, okay. And I just remember that morning. I'll never forget this. If those who have been in my life before have heard me tell this story, that I pull cards just to see what the energy of the day is going to be. And this particular day, the energy was a 10 of something. My inspired action was a 10 of something. And the outcome was a 10 of something. And I'm like, my tarot readers understand. I dropped 3 10s in one reading. 10s are endings and beginnings. In numerology, that 0 is the cosmic egg. It is creation. It is infinite possibilities. This is new birth. This is endings and beginnings. It's a circle. It's a cycle. Endings and beginnings. 1 is new beginnings. 10s is an overabundance of an energy that means something's about to close out. Something has closed. A door has closed. A new one is about to open. Why I got so many 10s in this reading? What y'all up to? You're fine. What? No, homie. No. What are y'all up to? I was on FMLA because I needed to get my sons back and forth to therapy. So once I finished all of those things, I was able to log in and work. And when I logged in, it's, time for my one-on-one, but I see she's already in a meeting. So I don't bother her. I just wait. And she's like, hey, are you joining us? I see you're in a meeting. She's like, yeah, me and it's the one from HR. And I'm like, bruh, why? So again, my antennas were up. So I'm sitting there and they're like, you are amazing. You have contributed so much to the company, your office, And I'm like, oh my God. And I don't think I didn't have an emotional reaction at all in that moment. They're like, we just don't have, a need for your role anymore. It wasn't that they didn't have a need for it, they just gave it to somebody else, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, and it's funny because my mom and one of my friends said, it's because you were a little too militant and you was coming for their neck a little too often. And I'm like, and she's like, I know this is a lot. If you need to, want to take some time to process, you can have the rest of the day off. Your last day is going to be in a couple of days, da, da, da. Okay. All righty. That's cool. And so I got off and I texted one of my homegirls at work and let her know. She called me. She's like, are you okay? And I sat there for a minute and then the terror hit me. That's when it wasn't right away. Hi, Terry. The terror hit me. And it was just like, Alafia Alexis, I am a single mother and I just lost my job. Oh my God, what am I gonna do? I freaked out. And when I tell you, Spirit had just carried me and said, we got you. We are not going to let you fall. We got you. We got your children. We are not going to let you fall. And when you are not obedient, but consistent and devoted, not disciplined, but joyful and aligned in your spiritual practice, your spiritual court is not going to let you fall from your destiny, because that's their purpose. Their purpose is to see you be your most favorite self. And when I trust in that, when I operate in that, things work out. Ifa says you need to be open to receiving gifts. You need to be open to receiving blessings in the form of gifts. And, I have been like without a corporate income. You get used to that corporate money. It's different. Now you're trying to do it by yourself. And it's like, okay, this might have been January. And I'm just like, I need some help. And I was really wanting to not have to ask my dad for the amount of money I felt like I needed. And so I really sat and looked at what was coming in, what I needed, timing, and all those good things. And so I went to my Ori and I was like, I need 2 G's in 36 hours. That's what I need. I need 2 G's in 36 hours. And I'm open for how it needs to come, but I need 2 G's in 36 hours. And I asked my Ori, is this in alignment? Yes. I asked my Ori, is there any support? Because your Ori is who sanctions support from the rest of your spiritual court. So your Ori may say the ancestors are working on this, or the Orisha are working on this, your angels are working on this. So I asked my Ori's like, nah, this is all me, homie. Okay. I said, well, what's the offering? And good morning. And what's crazy is that that morning, I had a dream. And I had a dream that I was cooking shrimp. I don't eat shrimp. So this is why it stuck out. I'm cooking shrimp in the dream and I muck it up. It doesn't turn out well. Why? Because I don't eat shrimp. So I don't know how to cook shrimp. And so there was a woman there. She cooks the shrimp for me. And I give the shrimp to another woman. I don't see the woman's face. I give it to another woman. So that stuck out to me. Shrimp is a very specific offering for your Ori. There's a specific reason you give that to your Ori. And it's just your Ori. So when my Ori says yes, and I'm like, is the offering shrimp? Yep. And I'm sitting here, dang, I gotta learn. I'm not supposed to cook it. Am I not supposed to cook the shrimp? Nope. Go get it. Go get it prepared. And I'm like, okay. I don't even go to Ifa at that moment. I leave the house, get in the car, and go get the shrimp. I go get the shrimp. I present it to my Ori. Then I cast Ifa. And Ifa said, you need to, 1, be open to receive help. Be open to receive help. Be open to receive help. That's number 1. Number 2 was handle your business. Okay. I think the next day I got a phone call. It's the car note. I take a deep breath and I talk to him. I let him know this is what's going on. I need help. they say you need to at least make this one payment, and if you do, we can bypass this next one. You can skip a payment. I had just enough money in the bank to make that payment. It wouldn't wipe me out. I still could go get some local fast food or something, but I had just enough. So I paid it. I went ahead and made the payment. They skipped the other payment for me. And within 2 hours, somebody called me and blessed me with money, a large amount. It's large to me anyway. I paid my utilities and my cell phone bill with that money. And then the rest of my other checks and things started to deposit after that. This is what it looks like when you operate in the knowing of your spiritual practice, not belief, not faith. This is what happens when you understand that your dreams don't happen by accident. It was not an accident that I dreamt about cooking shrimp or messing up cooking shrimp and giving shrimp to somebody who, by and large, from the back, probably looked like me. That's not an accident. This is what it looks like when you have a consistency in your practice, and it's not just a show. It's not just, oh, I'm wearing these crystals, or, oh, I'm burning this sage. No, it's like the pieces have come together, and you understand how your spiritual cord speaks to you. And I understood that was a real odd thing to see, is shrimp in my dream when I don't eat shellfish. Why am I dreaming about shrimp? Like, is somebody preggers? Like, help me to understand. And then my Ori comes through like, I got a blessing for you. And it was like, boom, somebody gave me some money. My dad gave me some money. And then I got a check. Within 36 hours, I had 2 G's, a little over, actually. I had a little over 2 G's in 36 hours from my Ori, giving an offering to my Ori. I didn't get an offering to not any other divine energy, not an ancestor, not an Orisha, not no one. I gave some shrimp that cost me $4 to my Ori. That's what I did. Understanding, and it's, a lot of times people hear people talking about African spiritual practice, things like that. It's like, I went to Captain D's and bought some shrimp and gave it to my Ori. And in return, I got all the money I needed to pay all my bills, and then had some extra. That class that I taught for them high school students, I didn't ask to get paid. I was happy, like excited. It's something I wanted to do. I wanted to do it for schools. I left it out, and then I took it to nature. I left it out. I didn't eat it because I don't eat shellfish. So I would like no, no. And did I mention no? Like, I won't lie and say I'm not curious, at least about lobster, but I ain't got no curiosity about shrimp. I be seeing them clean shrimp booties. Nope, absolutely not. So no, I just gave it. And you probably asked it because it had to go to my Ori, but no. Some things I give directly to my Ori, but that was not, one of those moments where that had to be the case. It was just, Spirit has been moving and understanding the power of the word. It depends on, so some offerings you eat, some you don't. It really just depends on the disposition of the offering. So some is like, no, don't eat that. So like, for instance, for 2024, I'm not eating chicken. If I have any chicken, it is because me and the ancestors are sharing some, but by and large, I'm not eating chicken. So I had to give some chicken. So got a nice little rotisserie chicken to give as an offering, but I had to take it someplace. And it was not for me to eat. So it kind of just depends. It's a situation by situation thing as to whether you eat it, you just take, it just depends on the situation. It differs. So yeah, I just wanted to share a little testimony on this Ojo Oshe Otunla. I'm like, and honestly, doing it on Ogun and Ochosi's day really is perfect, because Ogun being that impulse to push forward, that impulse to persevere, that impulse to get the job done, that impulse to remove obstacles from your path. And sometimes understanding that the obstacle Ogun is trying to remove is you. The obstacle that Ogun is trying to remove is you. You getting out of your own way, you shedding the things that are not allowing you to see yourself fully and completely, doing those things to help you grow and develop and be the person that the Most High incarnated to be. And Ogun has always been exceptionally close to me. I think the first Orisha that ever came, the first time I ever got a divination for Ifa, that was the first Orisha. It was like, Ogun is super close to you. And I'm like, okay. And I resonated with that. I feel like Ogun's brilliance, like the innovations and the technology and the things that we have seen come about through that, that's Ogun's energy. And so for me, today makes sense because I have been on this journey of getting out of my own way. I have been on this journey of getting out of my own way. And that's the beautiful part of it. Is like, it's the hardest and most beautiful part is that ain't nobody hexing you. Ain't nobody throwing stuff at you. You are doing this to yourself. And if you just stop, you just stop. Ogun doesn't hold the machete removing obstacles for me. I'm holding it. Ogun helps me with the swing. Ogun helps me with the swing. I am not the one swinging. I'm not the one swinging by myself. We're swinging it together. I'm just the one holding it. And then what's Ochosi, because today is also Ochosi's day. And Ochosi don't miss. Ochosi don't miss. Ochosi always knows which path to take. Ochosi don't get lost and Ochosi don't miss. So Ochosi is the one that helps me make sure that I'm on the right path, that I'm on target to whatever that destination is. And as an Ianifa, especially in the good old Georgia, sometimes Ifa is like, do it anyway. It doesn't matter how many people show up. Do it anyway. Host the class. Put it out there. Do it anyway. Host the Ijosi. Do it anyway. Don't worry about how many people. I started my mentorship program. It's been almost a year now. The end of next month will make it a year. With 3 people in my hometown. 3. I like, real talk, I was surprised it was that many local. Like, I didn't expect that many people local at all. Like, that's being 100% honest. That's 100% honest. And it's just that I just didn't see it happening locally. So 3 people local. We started in my living room in my house. And of those 3, 2 are still here. But one of them moved away. So I only have one actual lives in my city student. The other 12, 13, all live someplace else. And I used to like frustrate me so badly. Why? Because I would love to have stuff on a regular where people at my, come, like, y'all can't see how big this room is, but I've now moved stuff around. Like, this is a big space. I can have a lot of people in here venerating and rituals and just teaching. I would love that. I would love that. I would love to have taught that numerology class to students at schools in my area. I would love that. But I understand I lives in the Bible Belt, deep into it. I get it. I get it. I've also been learning that it's not that people don't support you. They're not meant to. Understand, the people who are truly, really and truly meant to find and support whatever you're doing, whether you're a beautician, photographer, creator, whatever that case may be, those people who are meant to actually be your support, they will. Those people who are actually meant to be your support, they will. They will find you. And when you allow yourself to be open to what that's going to look like and not limited to just your friends and family, they will find you. Your community, your tribe is going to find you. And it'll be so random. I've been like done readings for people and they found my business card at the apothecary or something. These aren't friends. This is not coming from, I don't have like this squad of friends and every time I post something, they share my post. That don't happen like that. I might got two, being 100% honest, that share on a consistent basis. Two. Um, you can inbox me. You can inbox me. And I might actually have some time maybe for a 15-minute consult if you want one today. But just send me a message, huh? Um, Understanding that they're not meant to. So instead of me sitting around being mad, sad, or anything about who's not supporting me, I'm just gonna move them so that the people that want to, there's space for them. Because sometimes there's people sitting in those spaces of your supporters. Sometimes your friend list is um, full of people who are wanting to, who don't want to pay you any attention. They're just taking up space. And that's energy. They're taking up space. They're taking up space. And so you ain't got to make no big post about it. Just remove them. And it ain't got to be no beef, no announcement, no nothing. Y'all can still be friends outside of the social media streets, but understand that if there's people on social media trying to find you, there might be energy sitting in their space. Remove them. Remove them. The other part is put yourself out there even when it's not perfect. I ain't got no fancy background. I don't have fancy camera equipment. I don't have any of those things. Any of those things. Would I like to eventually at some point? Yes, I would love to have those things. But right now, that is not where it's at. Right now, I am simply walking in my path and real talk, just getting myself back to where I was when I was working corporate. And the fact that I can actually see it like in my hands on the way. And I have been clearing off my friend list, specifically on the Book of Many Faces, because shouts out to TikTok has been like, I didn't want a TikTok. My cousin is like, you should start a TikTok. It'll help grow your reach. For real, I would say half my students all came from TikTok. Half of them, half my godchildren right now, all found me on TikTok. All of them. Half my students all found me on TikTok. And if they didn't find me directly, someone they know pointed them to me on TikTok. Half of them came from TikTok. Not from my Facebook. No. 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 The other part from my also y'all who do spiritual and there's nothing wrong with that. You deserve to have an equal exchange of energy for the work and the time and the effort that you put into supporting someone else. The Most High is fully aware that money exists, that we live in an economy where things cost, and able to acquire said thing and is not looking for you to struggle. The idea that you are supposed to because you're spiritual is that if you were operating and your desires in alignment, not all your desires in alignment, but most your like your aligned in a hardship. Understand that you need to go to your ancestors and see. When it's time for me to reevaluate my business, I don't just change the price. Like, this is one of those times I have a spiritual board meeting and we talk about it. What is the most appropriate energy exchange for me to ask for these services, for these goods, whatever the case may be? And we have a conversation about it so that I can move in alignment, because I know me and my ego who understand struggling financially will knock things down just to try to help somebody out, and then wonder why I'm exhausted when I'm supporting said individual. It's because I'm not getting the energy exchange needed to support what I'm giving to them. So before I give someone a discount, before I do any of those things, I ask. Like, I'm running a special right now. You can ask, get one inspired action question from EFI for only $25. Why? Because I know what the energy exchange is like for that. And I feel like that I can do that pretty easy. I can do that with my eyes closed. So I'm offering just one question, 25, and it's literally one question. You're going to hit like one Odoo and what you need to do, and it's going to be real cut and dry. But it will be enough to give you the momentum through the month. But like, is this okay? All right, this is cool. But I struggled with that, and one, believing that people would pay me, because it wasn't a lack of belief in the worth. I know exactly what my coursework is worth. I know exactly how much energy I put in. I know how much time I put into it, and I know how effective it is. I know exactly how much it's worth, and I'm still undercharging. Big facts. I'm still undercharging. But I understand economy, things of that nature. So I still wanted to make it attainable for people to be able to access, but I didn't want to give it away. And that was the trying to find that sweet spot. And for a while, I was giving it away by and large, just looking at giving it away. Now that it's more in alignment to the actual, I have more energy. I have a lot more energy in doing the things that I want to do. So now not only am I able to take care of my godchildren, but now with the temple being expanded, where this is a thing where you come to our Itadogun. Shouts out Itadogun this Friday. If those want to come and attend our Itadogun, come join us. Come join our Itadogun. Come join my Orisha veneration service on Sunday evenings. Like, come do those things, because now I understand how to manage this energy exchange in a way that's going to work. When I do classes, the classes are going to be donation based, and donations start at $16. I'm like, come, like, really $16, and you get like a class on what Ori is, the parts of Ori. Like, come join us. But understand it, you deserve a fair and equitable exchange of energy, just like any other person doing any other job. So do not feel like because what you do is a spiritual work that, well, I just struggle, and no. That sounds good. I need to get my nails done. Don't look at the fact that I need to fill in. Like, I'm slowly popping these off because I got Elec orders to do. And doing Elecs with long nails is just like, why fail? Magnanimous fail. Like, please cease and desist. So I'm popping nails off. But I wanted my nails done for my birthday, and I really wanted it done. And what ends up happening is, okay, cool. I want my nails done. The money for my nails showed up. Money for my nails showed up. I didn't have to take out of the house money. The money for my nails showed up. Shouts out to Boo and one of my goddaughters, because they made it possible. Money for my nails showed up. Got my nails and my toes on. I needed some new clothes. Clothes showed up. Understanding that it's going to happen. It's going to happen, but you have to be open to receive it. If you are consistently telling yourself, well, oh, maybe I shouldn't, you're blocking yourself. You're blocking yourself. You are operating in self-deceit. And understand, when it doesn't happen, you can't blame anybody but you. It's not that your ancestors don't hear you. It's not that your Ori's a bad Ori. It is that you are blocking yourself. It's you. You are the problem. But the beauty of knowing that you're the problem is that you are also the solution. The beauty of knowing that you're the problem is that you're the solution. It's not hard, challenging work to rectify you being your own problem. Because first, you have to acknowledge you're the problem. You have to first acknowledge you are the problem. But once you do that, once you acknowledge that you're the problem, okay, that opens you up to solving it. It opens you up to solving it. Yesterday, one of my newest goddaughters, we had our first one-on-one session yesterday. And she said she was looking at the coursework and doing it and already being challenged. And she said she understands why this needed to happen in this way and for the coursework to be in this way. Because if you come to me, one, not all of my students are getting their hand of E5. That's not all of their desire. It's aligned, but they don't all desire that. What they desire is a better relationship between themselves and themselves and God, and to have a way to integrate spirituality in their life that fits with their lifestyle. E5, the course is from self to source with E5. E5 gives the medicine, and that medicine can be received by anyone, whether they initiate or not. Refresh. Oh, hold on. Do. Sorry, TikTok was doing a thing. I shake. If you know why E5 feels like home, in my opinion, E5 feels like home because for me, the way I teach E5 is a self-love practice. It is a self-love practice to say that every day, before any divinity, you honor your Ori. Before any divinity, you honor your Ori. You say your morning prayers and you say your prayers to Ori. That is how you start your day every day. Your Ori is you. So that means before any divinity, you honor you every day. That is your spiritual practice. Every day before you honor any divinity, you honor yourself. Sounds like self-love to me. Sounds like self-love to me. When I think about the ways in which I honor my Ori, and whether it is an actual Ori or Reiki, whether it is, sometimes my Ori is like, play a song that makes me feel good. Okay. Like turn up for me. Okay, let's turn up. We can do that. I love the relationship with my Ori because it is not stale. It's like turn up with me. Then let's turn up together. But to have a spiritual practice that says you give thanks to the Most High and you first and foremost, it is the Most High, you. That's how you start. That's wild. If you grew up in an Abrahamic tradition, that is wild. You're telling me that I need to honor myself every day? That's what I do. And understanding that whether you come into the tradition and getting no reaches or anything like that, like anybody, like as my godchild says, anybody trying to connect titles and Orishas like Pokemon cards, start with you. And if that's the only thing they get from me is how to operate in a state of self-love, how to trust their intuition and hear the voice of their Ori and honor their ancestors and their Egbe, they will always walk in their Iwa Pele. They will always walk in their Iwa Pele. And for me, that's the intention. They will have a relationship with Source that is so much more aligned to who the creator truly is. Not somewhere sitting on a cloud waiting to judge you, not plotting to end the world, but walking within you. It depends on what's up. Hi, hun. Thanks for popping in. It depends on if it comes up that you need one. So yes, you might possibly need to do one, but I will say this like this so that you will feel at ease. I ain't never hit nobody in the head for an elbow. That's what I'll say. I'll just leave it like that. I ain't never hit nobody in the head for an elbow, at all. And so I'll just leave it like that. But yeah, if it depends on if one comes up, because you might get your answer and you might not have to give an EBO, um, or your EBO might not be tangible. You might get the because the an offering. Um, so let's say, for instance, the special that I'm running, I started running it because if that my ORE is like that's my question. Yesterday was my day for my dot five. So I asked, what is an inspired? The question I asked was, what's an inspired action that I can take that will give my good fortune momentum in the month of March? That was my question. What's an inspired action I can take that will give my good fortune momentum? And the Odu was Osa Altura. And what I was told to, no, I'm sorry, that was that one. It was Irosmirete. Walk walk in alignment with your full skills, gifts, and talents, because um, sometimes you do have one. So sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I didn't have one for that yesterday. You want to know what my EBO was for yesterday for my inspired action? Walk in my gifts. That's what it said. Use my natural gifts and talents to their full capability. That's my offering. That was my offering. That was my EBO. You want to know what to do? Walk in your full gifts and talents. Walk in your full gifts and talents. Use your gifts because that is what is going to give you your good fortune. Use your gifts because that's what's going to give you your good fortune. So it depends. Sometimes, like I said earlier, I needed to acquire something. And so the exchange was some shrimp. Sometimes, like for instance, the reason why I'm on TikTok now is because of an EBO. The reason I'm on TikTok now, not today, but I mean in a general sense, is because of an EBO. It's because this particular day, when I asked Ifa what my offering was, it was not food, it was not drink, it was teach. And I'm like, who? Make a video, make a blog, teach. And it seemed like every day that I did a divination for myself, that was the EBO. Teach. I had an EBO once for Obata. I was just like, wear white. Oh, okay, that's cool. All right. I don't know if any of them are here, but whatever. There we go. Boop. Oh God. All right. That's funny. That was funny. Y'all wow. But it just depends. But I will say this. Every priestess does does is going to prescribe EBO in the ways of their lineage. So what I will say to that is, if you get divination from me and it comes that you need to give an EBO, that you won't get hit in the head. That's what I'll say. I'll say you won't get hit in the head. Yeah, you won't get hit in the head. I'll just leave it like that. You have to come. And if you're unsure, by all means, Google me. Go to the Googles. Google me as Divine Garden and check my reviews. If you're unsure, like, but I don't hit nobody in the head. No, because sometimes it don't take all it don't it it don't take all that. Oh, I learned in the last couple of years. Apparently, it's a trait from my Nigerian lineage, and it's always funny because if I run into somebody that's Yoruba or Igbo, they're like, "You are one of us, girl," and I'm like, highly likely because I'm almost genetically 50% Nigerian. Like I'm almost 50% Nigerian, which is wild to me. I'm like, bruh, I'm more Nigerian than I am African American. That is wild to me. That's wild. Um, no, no, you have to be aligned. That's what you have to be. Um, you have to be in alignment. That's what needs to happen, because not everybody needs to initiate. Some people just need their hand. Some people, like for instance, I did a divination for a young lady, and she was not a melanated person, but she needed the medicine of Ifa, but not through ceremony. She didn't need her hand. She didn't need to initiate. What she needed is exposure. She needed to come to classes and worship. She needed to get the medicine, but she didn't need it that way. She needed, in terms of the spiritual perspective, she needed to honor the spiritual practice of her ancestors. So it ended up the way that it happened is that I ended up pulling my runes out. Like I stopped, like I was divining for her, and I said, just a second. And this is when you know someone's like an oracle or medium. I stopped the E5 divination and grabbed my runes, because I do that a little bit. And then I, cast and was like, yeah, you need to honor the tradition of your ancestors. You do need the medicine of E5, but not in the way that you think. And the person that said gaps are lucky, I appreciate that. I received that today, because as a kid, yeah, it was a struggle. I'm Gen X. So having a gap as a kid was a struggle. The love and affection people give for gap girls now was not in place when I was a little girl. I would have loved to have had that. Ashe, you said you need. Well, congratulations on getting your hand. And Alien Superstar. I mean, if you need it, like, by all means, like if it's an alignment, and that's why I say everybody doesn't need to initiate. Some people just need their hand, and that's all the medicine from an spiritual elevation perspective they need. So just understand, you don't have to be Nigerian. You don't even have to be on the continent. You just, Ifa is going to, if Ifa is for you, Ifa is going to be for you in the way that you come to Ifa, and the way it's supposed to manifest for you is going to vary from person to person. So if you get divination and it says, yeah, you need your hand, or yeah, you need to initiate, then by all means, you make sure you follow your path. And understanding the path that you follow is always going to look different. The beautiful thing about tradition, and especially tradition in the diaspora, is that Ifa said, we gonna live, period. And that's why there's so many different ways to come to an Orisha practice. You have Lukumi, Santeria. Yes, it's Zoom. It's Zoom. It's Zoom. Unless you live in my city, it's Zoom. But Lukumi, Santeria, Candomblé, I think there's another one, but I can't remember the name of it. And Isheshe and other variations of Isheshe in the States. So, Ashe. So for me, I didn't go the Lukumi route because that's not where I was aligned to. And it's funny because now even I'll get it in Odu, and it's like, no, Isheshe. That's what you're supposed to do. And I'm like, okay, cool. But the medicine is how you need your medicine is going to vary. I knew that my Ori knew there were certain things that I needed to be able to do in the tradition, where Lukumi was not where I needed to go. I needed to go to where, in a place where I could grow and expand in the way that my Ori had chosen for my destiny. So though the content creators that I followed early on were definitely Lukumi, that's not where my path was going to reside. And so my godmother practiced more traditional Ifa, and that's where I ended up. I ended up in an Ile. The Ile that I was born into was nothing but womb holders. Why is that important? Because I was working on balancing my feminine and masculine energy. So going into an Ile of nothing but womb holders was important. Yay! I love that you're so excited about it. I love that. I love that you're excited about it.
It's the way.
Um, um, face, God, please fix your face. Oh God. Sorry. Got a whole text message and my whole face just like cracked the heck up. I love that. I love that you're so excited. And that I want people to feel like that. Like the love.
This is the way.
The love of Ifa is like I like my vision is that not Ifa specifically, but for my people in the diaspora, that whether they practice the AT or not, they could see the beauty in African traditional practices. That they can see that their ancestors were not evil, that their ancestors were so loving and loved by God, and that they just knew how to walk with the Creator, and that they like I would just love to see a day where they're just all walking in that way, regardless of what religion or path or anything they go to. My hope would be that in the Orisha community, that one day we're just all just like, ain't no beef, ain't no squaring up, ain't no what's that you claim. There's none of that. It's just simply we all are walking with our Orisha, and we're all walking, honoring our Ori and our Egun, and that we're all walking in Oludumare's light, and that's what that looks like. And there's no like, you're knowing it different. Who cares? Who cares? Like, if you're leaving an Abrahamic tradition, then you have to leave Abrahamic behaviors behind. And the idea that the Most High can only be reached on a Metro PCS phone, standing in the woods, holding up one foot, and if you're not doing it in that exact way, in the exact spot, that God's not going to hear you, you're supposed to leave that behind. When you leave Abrahamic tradition, you're supposed to leave that behind and realize the vastness of your Creator. And your Creator ain't got but one phone number. Your Creator don't have but one phone. Your Creator has billions. A different phone, a different carrier, a different color for every individual human being on this earth. There is no reason for everything in every practice to look exactly the same. The only thing that matters is it effective and is it in alignment? And is it for their highest good? Oh, thank you, beautiful. Like, is it for your highest good? Is it for your highest good? And if it is, that's it. That's all that matters. And if we could just simply that, embrace that, and simply operate in the knowing that all the like real talk, like I almost always have at least one Shango or one Yemoja in my life, no matter what. And they are never like, and rarely are they ever Isheche. They're rarely ever Isheche. They're always in some other practice or tradition, but I always get at least one Shango and one Yemoja. Why? Because I'm crowned Shango and Yemoja. I always get at least one Shango or Yemoja. Even if they don't know it for sure, they know it in their heart. They will pop and say, I've been dreaming about so-and-so, or I got an affinity for storms. They always say it. They always say it. There's always at least one. Why? Because it's the energy is still the energy, manifesting in different ways in different people, but it's still Shango is still Shango. It may look I shade that look. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised. Really? Oh, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. See, the energy is you will be drawn to, you will gravitate to energy that is like unto yours. Not exact, like unto yours. That's beautiful. That is so dope. That's so cool. And it it's like, okay, why am I here? Well, now you know. Why are you drawn to this live? Because Victor Yamoja definitely is me and I am her. And so I always have one. I always have some Chongo in here. It don't matter what's going on. I always got a little like this, like someone pop ups. I'm over here. I'm right here sitting in the cut. Okay, great. See, I knew you was here. I knew you was here. Always have them here. All different traditions, all different lineages, all different Elays, all different Ias and Babas. If you can't see the oneness happening in those moments, respectfully, you're doing it wrong. If you can't see the oneness in all of our traditions, if you can't see the innovation, the hand of Ogun in making sure that there are new tools, new ways, new herbs, new things to do in the diaspora that allow the tradition to continue to carry on through the Atlantic slave trade. If you can't see Ogun's hand in that, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. If you can't see the beauty in the fact that this tradition that left one continent and has continued to live across the world, you're doing it wrong. If you're steady looking for their Lekes don't look the same and their tradition don't look like that, and we call it this, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Isheshe is the mother of all of these traditions. And she loves all her children equally, regardless of who their stepdaddy is. She loves all of them equally. She loves them all equally. She ain't got no, like, it's a tradition. It's not dogma. It was a tradition, not dogma. And there isn't a single African anything that operates in dogma. It is like Isheshe is the mother, and everyone else in the diaspora where it has birthed other traditions got a stepdaddy. That new tradition was born. So yeah, they all got, we all got different stepdaddies, birthing all these different traditions. And that's how it's supposed that's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Catholicism is the stepdaddy, met Isheshe, they had babies, Lukumi Santeria. Boom. Like, you're crying because it makes logical sense. You don't want it to make sense. You want to reject it because it does. It does. It makes complete and total sense. Like the way that the beauty of that has spread, and it's spread. And I think someone sent me the video, and I just hi, thank you, honor and blessings to you as well. The way that it has spread and morphed throughout. Ashe. The way it has birthed and it's spread and it is morphed, and it's like, we ain't going down. We don't care what changes. Oh, you ain't get access to this herb? That's okay. I'm going to make sure that someone gets the dream that this other herb is going to work. Like, it's going to happen. Someone told me a story, and I think the story is based in Lukumi, that a woman received a dream from Yemoja on how to birth Olokun so that they could do Olokun initiations, because that knowledge had been lost thanks to the slave trade. So someone had to receive it, because it's like, no, we need you to be able to do this. So regardless, we're going to make sure someone receives the information so that it can continue to be passed down. Understanding the vastness of source, the creation, the creator, is going to make sure those that need to have whatever the medicine is, whether it is Isheshe, whether it is Lukumi, whether it is Santeria, whether it is other ATRs like Voodoo, whether it is ADRs like Haitian Voodoo or New Orleans Voodoo, whatever it is, if it's like the African-American practice of Hoodoo, the medicine needed to come through and be handed down will be handed down to make sure their children still receive it. This is why you still see in the diaspora homies pouring 40s, because pouring libations did not need to be lost. So they said, we're going to whisper, pour 40 for your homie. They may not realize they're pouring libations and honoring their ancestors, but that's what's happening. Pouring a 40 out for your homie is pouring libations. Just because they don't say pouring libations and they say they're pouring out a 40 doesn't mean they're not honoring their ancestors, whether they consciously know it or not. Their spirit understands, and their blood and their bones understands this is what needs to happen so that we can continue the tradition to go on. We need these things to continue to live and breathe and thrive. And so those who are open to receive and get those messages are going to receive and get them. And when we stop looking for reasons to judge how we are different, we will see the multitude of ways in which we are the same. We will see the ways in which obstacles to our communing with nature are trying to be dissolved and trying to be removed. But we have to stop looking for everyone to commune in the same way. Everybody's not going to sit and be able to just talk to trees, but they might have a gang of plants in their house. And that's okay. And that's okay. And understanding that there are some people within our community that their Ori chose to be Christian. And I think that's hard for some of us to accept, that there are some people they chose that as their destiny. Like, this is where they wanted to be because they had already done this, that, and the other thing. And in this lifetime, they said, I want to do this. And it doesn't make them sleep. It doesn't make them sleep. It makes them walking in their own destiny. The conference call about the destiny didn't include you. Even the diviner doesn't know the person's destiny until Orunmila tells them. So understanding that that person had a conference call with them, Olodumare, because Olodumare is incarnating as them. So it's them, their Ori, Olodumare, Orunmila, like their spiritual court knows their destiny, even if you don't. So to say they're asleep, no. They're just not doing what you're meant to do. And leave it like that. We would hope they would do the same for us. But for us, we can just leave it like that. We ain't got to go in no back and forth and no wait. Nope. We ain't got to try to convince them. Nope. Even myself, I got a whole mentorship program called From Self to Source with Ifa. I'm not recruiting for Ifa. I am helping Black people honor their ancestral traditions and have a better relationship with themselves and the divine. The side effect may be that they come to Ifa. But that is not the basis of it. It is that the medicine of Ifa will help them in that endeavor. It will help in that endeavor. It will help them do this in a way that feels good for them. And then if it comes up and it's like, hey, get the, go ahead and get your hand or whatever. And they decide to say yes, because they still have a choice. They still have a choice to say yes or no. But understand, I got at least 3 goddaughters, and not one of them has mentioned that they're going to go ahead and get their hand. But you know what they all say when they greet me? Alafia ia, aburo boye abo shishe. I'm still their godmother because I can see their evolution. They do the rituals. They join us for our ceremonies. They do the rituals. They do all the things. They're getting the medicine. And I'm watching them physically change. Ashe, like I could see the physicality in them change. One of my goddaughters, that's like, I can tell you did that 7-day ritual. You look younger. All of them had that particular side effect. Like all of them after the 7 days was done, I looked at them like, why you got a baby face today? Like it de-aged them. It's the craziest thing because it happened to all of them. They all look younger to me. Like whatever weight was aging them, they had removed some of it. And in doing so, they were able to look younger. But, it doesn't mean she's going to get her hand. It just means that she's walking in her Iwa Pele. And that's the most important part, that she is walking in her Iwa Pele. If it comes time where she chooses to do this or something else, because the beautiful thing is some of the foundational work to prepare you to go to a mat will prepare you to go to almost any mat, because it starts with yourself. The self work done, that will help you regardless of where you decide to go. You don't have to, they don't have to initiate with me. I just want them to have a better relationship with themselves and God. Everything else is a bonus. Don't worry, I'm getting ready to stop at a few because I need to go spend some time with Ogun and Ochosi directly in Ifa. But I got 5 minutes, so I'm gonna open it up for 5 minutes. If anybody has throw any questions out there, yep, because I've been on an hour and a half, so it's time for me to wrap it up. Any question? And my battery's gonna die. So any questions anybody wants to ask before I close out? Thank y'all for listening. Hopefully, you got something that's going to offer some nourishment to your day. But I'll give y'all like 5 minutes, 5 more minutes. If you don't have a question, I'm gonna go ahead and go. But if anybody has any questions for me, they are more than welcome to ask. Ashay, I see somebody booked. I don't know if you're still in the live, but I just saw it. And I will message you after my venerations. But if you want to inbox me either on my website or that's you, and we have the same last name. Okay. All right. I'll check my message. If you go on my website and open up the chat when it pops up, send me some days and times that you would be free for us to do your question. Just send me days and times and we'll do that. But I looked at it, was like, who with my last name is messaging me? We had the same last name. Cool beans. And if I don't hear from you, I will message you when I'm, finished up. But any questions, anybody? Thoughts, feelings, emotional outbursts? I thank y'all so much for Shay. Thank you. That makes me feel good. Well, while I'm waiting to see if you have any questions, I will tell y'all this. If you're not on my mailing list, you should get on there. I'm going to be sending email out between today and tomorrow. Ita Dogun is Friday, and so I would like to invite those who would like to attend to come and join and fellowship with myself and my godchildren. Then Sunday is going to be Sundays with Iya in Orisha, which is my Orisha worship service. And that is also Oshe Jakuta. So hang out while I'm basking in Shango's energy. Hi, Cezanne, Alafia, good morning. You will come right at the end. So Friday is Ita Dogun. I will be sending an email out between today and Wednesday. If you are not on my mailing list, please consider going into my website and joining my mailing list. Sunday is going to be my Orisha worship service. And then the April 7th, I am going to be kicking off. So for all of my godchildren, we did a 7-day ritual to help elevate our Ori. And so I'm going to kick off a community one where you have some accountability partners and where we can all do the 7-day ritual together, because a few of us said we're going to do it again. So I said, I'm going to open this up across the board for people who would like to also do that Ori work. Everybody, whether you come to the tradition or not, benefits from Ori work. So if that's something that would interest you, that is on my website under the events page. The ritual itself is 7 days, but the event itself is 9. And the first day, I'm going to teach a class on Ori. So what Ori is, parts of Ori, why honoring your Ori is important, et cetera, et cetera. Then through the 7 days, we will come together in the mornings and do our affirmations that are part of the ritual, and in the evenings to do our affirmations. So you'll have a space where we are all doing this together. You're not doing it alone. And then the 9th day is basically a debrief. What transformations, what shifts did you see in yourself after doing this work? So for those who are interested, this is already on my website at niasdivinegarden.com under events, or just scroll down because I have most stuff also on my homepage. I am doing a class this month on how honoring your divine feminine will help you balance your divine masculine. That is donation-based. The minimum donation is $16. That is coming up towards the end of the month in honor of Women's History Month, but this is not a class for just women. This is a class for everyone, and learning what feminine energy is outside of the stereotypes of what a girl is, and how honoring it and balancing it and working with it helps you actively honor and balance your divine masculine at the same time. So hopefully y'all will check some of those things out. It is officially the top of the hour. And I'm going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all of y'all's Oris and all of your ancestors in Egbe, because if they had not said, this is a live for you to sit in, this is a place for you to come and receive some insight, medicine, you wouldn't be here. So for that, I am eternally grateful. Thank you, Ifa, for trusting me to share not only my testimony, but just some additional medicine and nuggets that I did not expect today. And now I have a date with Ogun and Ochosi. So, and I bid y'all farewell. Take care. Bye.